Hello, my name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania for 1st and 2nd graders. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Let's learn something new in math. Today we're going to be adding 3-digit numbers. So adding numbers all the way up to 1,000 using a place value chart. All you need today is a piece of paper and a pencil. All right, let's get started. Let's first start with our I can statement. It says, I can add 3-digit numbers by using a place value chart. All right, so we know that word add means to combine or put together. We know when we're adding two numbers together that something bigger is going to come in the sum. So we know when we're adding, we're combining or join, we put together, right? And then a 3-digit number we know is a number that has 3 separate digits, and by using a place value chart. Now, a place value chart is a tool that's going to show the value of each number. So I think I'll put it by the word value, and I'm just going to say tool to show value of each digit. And this math tool today is really going to help us break apart each 3-digit number, and then when we combine and put them together, we'll be able to see the sum all drawn out and written for us. So it's a really, really good math tool, especially when we're beginning to add really large numbers. All right, let's get started. So today we're going to be adding 3-digit numbers, and using a place value chart is a really easy way to add big numbers quickly, and also so that we can break apart to see the values of each digit. Now, this is a very simple process. There's really only 3 steps. The first step is to put our numbers, when we're adding, we're going to put both numbers into our chart. And we do that by drawing the hundreds, tens, and ones. Now, we've known in math now for quite a while that we always want to start in that ones place, so that if we have to do anything to help us with our problem, we started in the right spot. So I'm going to go ahead and start in my ones place for the number 431, and I hear a 1. So I'm going to draw 1, 1, and I'm going to do that just by drawing one little square. Then we have our tens, and we have a 3, and I'm going to draw 3 tens rods. Then we have our 4 in our hundreds place, and I'm going to draw 4 bigger squares. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing with the number 157. I'm going to use a different color. And I see there's a 7 in the ones place and the number 157. So how many little cubes am I going to draw in the one place? 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to move now to my tens place. I see I have a 5. So how many 10 rods am I going to draw? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm going to also look at my hundreds place, and I have a 1. So I will draw one group of 100. So that is step 1. Step 1 is just putting our numbers into base 10 form on our place value chart. Now I can see both numbers represented. I can see the values in each spot. Now I just get to count it up. So I count up my ones. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 in my ones place. I'm going to count up my tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 tens. Now, is 8 tens really just the number 8? What is 8 tens actually? That's right, it's 80. 8 tens is also the number 80. And let's count up our hundreds place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a 5 in the hundreds place. And is this just the number 5? No, it's the number 500. So when I say my answer, I have 588. And that is it. That is all the steps. And look at this beautiful problem. Ta-da! All right, let's do one together. This is when you're gonna get your piece of paper and your pencil. Go ahead and grab that for me. Now that you have your piece of paper, I want you to write the problem 672 plus 215. I want to make sure that you have your ones lined up, your tens lined up, and your hundreds lined up so that our problem is really neat and nice. Don't forget to leave space on your page for your 100, tens, and ones chart. When you're finished writing the problem, you are just going to write your place value chart. The easiest way to do it is just draw one long line, make 2 lines coming down, and then we put an H in this corner for hundreds, a T in the middle for tens, and a O in the last spot for ones. And then that way we can keep our work really neat and nice and organized. All right, let's go ahead and do step 1. Step 1 is to put our numbers in base 10 form in our place value chart. So I look at the number 672. And should I start in the hundreds place or the ones place? That's right, I should start in the ones place. So I see that number 2, so I'm going to draw 2 ones. I immediately move to my tens column where I see a 7. So I'll draw 7 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now that I'm done with my tens, I can move to my hundreds, and I see 6 hundreds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now you should also have the number 672 in your place value chart. Let's do the same thing for the number 215. So again, do you think I should start in my hundreds place or my ones place? Let's start in our ones place. So we have 5 ones, so I'm gonna draw 5 little ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm gonna move to my tens place. I see only 1 10, so I'm gonna add it to my line here. And then 200, so I'll add 2 hundreds cubes. And now I have both numbers in my place value chart. So now I get to move on to my next step, which is just to count it all up. This is my favorite step because it's definitely the easiest step, right? So I'm gonna count it all up. Should I start in my tens place? No. Should I start in the hundreds place? No way. I'm gonna start in my ones place every time. So I count up my ones place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I see I have a 7. How many do you have in your tens place? All right, let's see if we got the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And last but not least, our hundreds place. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can put that down here. And I want to not forget to take my answer and put it over here. So then that way you're showing that you know the answer, you know the sum, you showed your work over here, but then we solidify it by putting it in our problem. And I know my answer is 887. My 8's got a little wild there. All right, let's go ahead and flip our page over and try another one together. The last problem we're gonna do together today is 519 plus 360. Does anybody remember what the first step is? Of course, after you've written your problem down and after you've drawn your place value chart, don't forget your headings, right? Our hundreds, tens, and ones, or HTO. That's right, we wanna go ahead and take our numbers and put them in our place value chart by putting them in base 10 form. I'm gonna start with my top number, 519. Should I start by putting the tens place? No, let's go ahead and start with that 9 in the ones place. So I'm gonna count out 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I'm going to move to my tens place where I see a 1 group of 10, and then my hundreds place is last. And what number do you see? A 5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we do the same thing for our second number, which is the number 360. So again, I start my ones column. I look at my ones place, whoop, there's a 0. So do I need to add anything to that ones place? No way, it stays just the same. Now I can move to my tens column and I see a 6. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then last but not least, we do our hundreds column where there's a 3 and I draw 3 hundreds. Now we have our next step, the easiest step, the most fun step, I think, which is to count it all up. So we have our ones place first, and I count it up and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in my ones place. Which column should I count up next? That's right, let's count up the tens column. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then last but not least, we have our hundreds column, and how many hundreds do we have? That's right, we have 8. So can anyone tell me the answer? That's right, 879. Nice job. So of course I have a challenge for you today, and this challenge is a word problem. So I'm gonna read you the word problem. You're gonna need to identify the numbers that you hear that you're gonna need to add together. And then I want you to see if you can set up the problem all by yourself. So set up that hundreds, tens, and ones place value chart, write the problem down, and then put all the numbers in base 10 that you need to. All right, here is our word problem today. So I gave Rosie, my dog, 321 treats in the morning. It was the best day of her entire life. And that afternoon, I gave her 174. How many treats did Rosie have that day? Probably so many she got a stomachache. But how many treats? I gave her 321 in the morning and 174 in the afternoon. So how many did she have in all? What's your first step? Make sure you get that problem written down. Make sure you write it down where you stack up the hundreds, tens, and ones. So she had 321 in the morning, 174 in the afternoon. And then I want you to try and draw that hundreds, tens, and ones chart. Use the hundreds, tens, and ones chart to put both of our numbers in base 10 form, count it all up, and you got your answer. And then you can tell me how many treats Rosie had in that day. Way too many. That is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania. I'll see you next time.